buddy, come here. Yes. These are my chickens, and they're incredibly friendly. And they're going to be laying eggs here in a few months, like 2 months. They're not quite fully grown yet. And they are for egg laying. We're not planning on eating them. Besides, they have totally turned into pets. I've never had anything make me want to be a vegetarian worse than these chickens, because I just love them. They're so friendly and sweet and so much fun. We've got 3 different types here. This one's a Buff Orpington, this one's a Barred Rock, and this one's called a Production Red. And I have 3 of each. I've got 9 chickens. I live in the near suburbs of a large Midwestern city, and we're having so much fun with these. You know about our chickens, don't you?
Yes.
So, as a neighbor, what do you think of our chickens?
I think that they're cute and they're cuddly and soft.
Do they make a lot of noise?
No.
Do they make as much noise as your dog makes?
No.
I'd say they peck, they poop, they eat, they sleep, and they're friendly. That's about it. And it's funny, they don't have that much personality in and of themselves. But boy, do they have personality as a flock. What do you do to my chickens?
I chase them around because they're soft and cuddly, and because you can get feathers without going to a farm.
My chickens like me.
I can tell.